Good morning to all. Today we'll see about the second topic. Our topic is image sampling and quantization. So in this first unit, already we had discussed about elements of visual perception. In that we have discussed all the elements, how the perception happens and what are all the things, how the image is captured, everything we had discussed. And we had stopped up to what image and how image is formed, and today we'll discuss about how we are using that image. So for that, let us start with a brief introduction. So what is signals? Signal is a function that carries information. So usually we know that signal is nothing but the content. Actually the content of the signal is going to change over some set of spatio-temporal dimensions. So we know what is temporal means, it is time dimensions, and spatio means it is spatial dimensions. So the signal is a thing that carries information. So information is going to change with space and time. And if it is a time varying signal, some signals they change with time. For example, f of t, that is a function which change with time. For example, audio signal, you see, so that function is going to change with time. It may be thought of as a one level, as a collection of various tones. So audio signal, it is having variable audible frequencies that vary over time. And some signals are spatially varying signals. So lastly we have discussed about time varying signals, now spatially varying signals. So signals can vary over space as well. An image, we are going to see about the image. So image can be thought of as being a function of two dimension, that is spatial dimension. So two dimensions means x is one dimension, y is one dimension, f of x comma y. For example, for monochromatic images, the value of the function is the amount of light at that point. Monochromatic means single color it is having, that is it is the amount of light just at that point. For example, medical images, CAT, CAT or MRI scanners, they produces images, they are of three spatial dimensions, that is with respect to z axis also. So spatio-temporal signals. Now we are going to discuss about both the combination of spatial signals and temporal signals. Now what is this kind of signal? So it is a signal of x comma y having spatial parameters and time parameters. So x and y are spatial dimensions and t is time. So for what is the example of the spatio-temporal signal is our video signal or animation or other time varying picture sequence. So next we will see discrete signals. So we have two main categories. One is continuous signals, another one is discrete signals. So most naturally occurring signals are continuous domain. For example, any sound, light signal, electrical signal, all are of continuous domain. However, signals in computer, if we see, they are of discrete, they are not of continuous. In other words, signals manipulated by computer, they are having discrete domains. Why we are going for digital? Most naturally occurring signals also having real value range in which values occurs with infinite precision. So most of the signals, they are having real value. So that is in terms of points, decimals, they won't be integers. Sometimes they have real value range, so they may have some infinite precision. So in order to store or manipulate signals by computer, we need to store these numbers with finite precision. So these signals, they have a discrete range. So continuous domain and range we call as analog, and discrete domain and range we call as digital. So next, coming to the sampling. Now sampling is nothing but spacing of discrete values in the domain of a signal. That is, we are going to slice the signal with respect to x-axis. So from the graph, if you see, you can clearly understood this red line represents the continuous domain, and here we are slicing the red signal with respect to time axis, that is x-axis. So sampling rate is nothing but how many samples are taken per unit of each dimension, that is samples per second. Per second, how many samples are there, that is sampling rate. Next we can see periodic sampling. So periodic sampling represents a continuous signal with a sequence of discrete data values. They are used in the field of digital signal processing. That is sampling with regular intervals. If you are cutting or slicing at regular intervals, then we can say it is periodic sampling. So how we are doing this sampling? It is very simple. You are passing a continuous signal over a analog to digital converter, and this converter will convert the analog values to digital values. That is, the output will be the digital values. Now, with respect to sampling, the primary concern, we have to give importance how fast must the given continuous signals be sampled in order to preserve its information content. So that is very important. How fast we are cutting the signal. So, okay, that is sampling. Next, coming to quantization. Now we are going to slice the same continuous signals with respect to the intensity values. So, okay, that is with respect to y-axis we are going to cut the signal. Quantization is nothing but spacing of discrete values in the range of a signal. The range of a signal nothing but represents the intensity values of a signal or y-axis. For example, you can consider this the number of bits per sample of the signal. For example, 1 bit per pixel or 16-bit audio, 24-bit we are speaking nowadays 24-bit, 16-bit. So that 16-bit, 24-bit corresponds to the parameter or process of quantization. So now after a continuous signal passes through a sampler, then quantizer, the resulting will be a digital image. So what is a digital image? It has infinite intensity value. It may be considered as a picture point. That is, the digitization of the image contains spatial discretization by sampling and intensity discretization by quantization. So, okay, this is values we are representing. These are the spatial values. F of 0, 0, 0. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and each function will hold one value, and that is our intensity value. So finally, we are converting the pixel points. It is not continuous. We are converting the image in terms of pixels, and that pixels it is represented in matrix form. So now the digital image is represented with the help of matrix. Next, the same process. What are all the process we are carrying? This is our analog image. We are passing through an A to D converter, and finally we are getting one digital image. So, okay, that is a set of intensity values in 2D space. So these are number of intensity values. Each x and y value will contain some intensity values. So this is the continuous image and this is the discrete image. This is the digital image. So how we are acquiring this? For example, you consider this object. This A represents the energy, illumination source. Okay, this is the source of illumination. This is A. This is our object, and from the light is going to fall on this object. So illumination is from the source. How much light is incident on the object, that is illumination, and how much light is reflected from the object, that is reflection. Okay, and this is the imaging system, and the light reflects from the object. It falls on the camera lens and it creates one picture. Okay, this picture is continuous. Okay, and we are converting this continuous picture into digital image. How we are processing? We are passing this continuous image to a analog to digital converter, and the output will be a digitized image. So this is the simple process how we are getting a digitized image. So you see here, this is a continuous image, and this line, for example, we are representing, taking this lines A to B, and we are marking the intensity values from A this point to the B this point. Okay, usually white will have higher values of intensity and black is having lower level of intensity. So here white, the object, the light here now at the point A we have white color. So we have maximum intensity, the scale, and B also we are having maximum intensity, and where the darkness is high, there we are having the minimum intensity. Okay, here at the edges we are having minimum, and at this point also we are having minimum, and here we have moderate. So So the scale, the graph structure of the graph is like this. So the same points are noted here also and here also. So that is the discrete image or digital image. Now we'll speak about gray level. Okay, for a monochrome image, there are two types of image. One is monochrome, that is black and white image, and another one is color image. So this black and white image we can call as monochrome image. That is a function x comma y. At that point, the gray level, it has some gray level. Okay, this L small l represents the gray level. It lies in the range of L minimum to L maximum. We can consider this L minimum to be positive and L maximum is finite. Always it is like this for a gray level. So 0 represents black and high L maximum L represents the white color. And the number of gray levels in between black and white, how many gray levels will be there means it is in the power of 2 power. Okay, next light intensity function. This we all know. Image refers to a 2D light intensity function f of x comma y. The amplitude of f at spatial coordinates x comma y. The amplitude represents the intensity value of the image at that point. Light is a form of energy that is f of x comma y must be non-zero and finite value. So it lies in between. The f of x comma y is a light intensity function, or it is a value. It is actually a value of intensity. So it must be non-zero and it must be a finite value. We cannot say the particular value of a light is infinite like that. So it lies in between 0 to f. Next we are going to see about the number of bits used to store a image. For example, already I told you. So that is the gray levels lies in the range of, that is black is 0 and white color is highest value, and in between we are having 2 power k levels of gray levels. So k represents some integer value. So now speaking about the memory space to hold a digital image, we need m into n into k. What is this m represents? The number of rows. So already we discussed that a digital image is represented in terms of matrix. So matrix will have m number of rows and n number of columns. Okay. So now this m represents your row size and n represents your column size, and k represents the value used to represents the gray levels. So number of gray level is always typically a power of 2. Next we are going to see about resolution. That is the clarity, detail. How much you can see the detail of the image. That is our resolution. Very fine detail, very clearly if you are watching. For example, if you see the Sony advertisement, you can understand this concept. They are advertising that the Sony has in highest resolution, that it can differentiate so many difference of colors, some 64,000 colors. They are showing like that. So that is how fine we are showing our image. That is, it depends upon the sampling and the gray levels. So the bigger the sampling rate and the gray level, if both are high, you know, very big sampling, then the approximation will be the that is the digitized image from the original image. It will be good. Okay, the more the quantization level becomes, the bigger the size of the digitized image will also becomes high. That is, if you cut the image very close levels, at a very close levels, you will be getting the more as the object, the final image as your original image itself. So that is here, the more number of sampling rate or more number of gray levels represent, you are cutting the, or you are slicing the continuous image with more closed intervals, so that you can get a better approximation as close to the original image. Now, coming to the resolution, we have two types. One is with respect to spatial coordinates, and another one is with the intensity values, that is gray level resolution. We know the level L represents the gray level and the size of the image is m cross n. So for spatial resolution, we are representing the number of samples per unit length or area. How many samples per unit length? So DPI now, when we want to purchase some mobile phones, people are interestingly asking about this DPI. So that tells the high resolution. DPI is nothing but dots per inch. How many dots per inch, that it specifies the size of the individual. Next we will see about gray level resolution. It is the number of bits per pixel. Bits, actually gray level represents the bits per pixel. Usually we have 8 bits per pixel. So the color image represents, each pixel will have 3 colors or color G, RGB values. So 3 into 8, 84 bits per pixels. So if we have few levels, it may cause false contouring. Okay, we'll see what is that false contouring, all that. So now we'll see about the spatial resolution. We have an example to understand this concept clearly. I'm showing you a picture which I have taken from our Gonzalez book itself. So the gray level is nothing but 2 power k. This we all know. L represents the discrete level, and M and N are the spatial coordinates. That is M rows and N columns. So here we are half the size. For example, here if it is 512 cross 512, here it is 256 cross 256, half of this. Okay. Now, how you see, if we make half the level of the spatial coordinates, that is the pixel size, 512 represents M rows. If you are having only 256 rows instead of 512 rows, here we have close, very close. Here we have somewhat distance. So, okay, the slicing will be happening at some larger values. So, okay, so you have very fine detail here, but it won't be very fine like this. So, okay, this is color image. So we can have 3 pixels, okay, or 3 values, R value, G value, and B value for each pixel. And this is 128. If you go on decreasing the size of your spatial coordinates, then that much blur will be your image. Okay, this is this. Now coming to the gray level resolution, here also I am representing the levels, number of gray levels in 256 bits. Okay, this is 128 bits, number of bits, that is 2 power. That is, this is 2 power 4 is 16, which means you have 4 gray levels here, and here we have only 2 gray levels like this. Okay, 16 gray levels. So if you keep on decreasing the number of gray levels, then you have only that much clarity is your image. Okay, that is gray level resolution. Approximation of y-axis. Okay, reconstruction. Now this is checkerboard effect. For example, spatial resolution by resampling. So we are sampling again and again. That is subsampling, we can say. For example, you see here this A image. This one is A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, like this I am showing here. 1024 cross 1024, this one. So you see how much clarity it is. Okay, but here it is check box we are having. So it is, the size here is 32 cross 32. So we are having this checkerboard effect. If we reduce the spatial coordinates, then you have this checkerboard effect. If we have more number of slicing or more sampling, more samples, then we have very clear details of the picture will be seen. Next, false contouring. That is, it is the same picture we are taking. So here also the same rows image we are taking, and here we are speaking with spatial coordinates, x and y values. But here the same image we are discussing with the intensity values, that is the gray levels. And here the gray level is 16, here 8, here 4, here 2. If you keep on decreasing the gray levels also, then the smoothen area will be affected. So, okay, this is the smoothen area, then you won't get the clear picture. So this type we can call as false contouring. This one is false contouring. That is, we are actually imagining this to be a rose. It is not actually a rose clearly appearing to you. So you are falsely, or you are guessing that it may be a rose. So this is because it is occurring only on the smooth area, which has very fine gray levels. Fine means the detailed information of the image, the edge information, corner information. It holds some very detailed information. So if we miss the detailed information, then false contouring will appear. You won't get a very clear picture. So you shouldn't, that you have to compromise with the gray levels. Next we will see about non-uniform sampling. Okay, for a fixed value of spatial resolution, so the sampling rate may be uniform or non-uniform. Okay, the appearance of the image can be improved by using adaptive sampling rates. For example, fine sampling B required in the neighborhood of sharp gray level transitions. So you shouldn't have more number of gray levels. So, okay, you should have more number of gray levels at the sharp details of the image. Okay, coarse sampling, you can roughly here one sample, there one sample, means at a relatively smoother regions. Okay, this type of sampling at one rate within an image, if we are doing two levels of sampling, then we can say it is non-uniform. Somewhere we need to sample at a very fine rate, and some place we have to sampling at coarse rate. Similarly, non-uniform quantization also we can perform, that is unequally spaced levels in quantization process. That is the unequal spaced. This word you can understand what is non-uniform. Uniform means same level of gray levels. Okay, if it is not uniform, then it is non-uniform. That is, now we are decreasing the gray levels. We are using few gray levels, only one level or two level. Already we discussed, if we have few gray levels, false contouring will appear. So, but few gray levels we can adjust. We cannot think at the boundaries. Few gray levels we can use in the boundaries. That is, eye is relatively poor at these levels, but we have to use more number of gray levels in the smoother area, because I clearly see about false contouring. So in order to avoid false contouring, we have to use more number of gray levels. Next, this light, what is monochromatic and chromatic light? All that we know. Monochromatic means that is having no color information. A light which is not having any color information, then we can say it is monochroma. Okay, attribute is it has only intensity. That is, the gray level is used to describe the intensity value. In chromatic, we have three qualities are used. One is radiance, luminance, brightness. So this radiance is nothing but the total amount of energy that flows from the light source. Okay, radiance is the total amount of energy. Okay, from the light source, how much amount of energy is coming, that is radiance. Luminance is an object, how much it perceives the light source. So that is the luminance. And brightness is the perception that your eye is going to observe. Okay, radiance is, for example, if you are seeing the sun, you take it. Okay, sun is giving the light, that is radiance from the source. Luminance means how much amount of light your eye is able to perceive, that is luminance. And brightness is based upon the perception. You are creating one image within the brain, that is the brightness. Okay, key factor. Next we will see about digital images, that is binary image. Each pixel, binary means we have only two values, one is black, another one is white. For example, 0 and 1. For example, the same picture, okay, the gateway of picture. This gateway picture, if it is represented in binary image, you see here, it has only two values. One is 1 or 0 value, either white or black. No other gray levels here. But here black, white, and in between some gray levels are also there. So here you can see more number of intensity values are used to describe the same image. So that is gray is, black is 0 and white is 255, and in between 0 to 255 we are having so many levels of intensity values. And you see the color image, the same thing, but here it is multiplied by 3. So each pixel, each value is represented by 3 values. R value, B value, G value, B value, R, G, B. This is each pixel information. So, okay, each color information, each pixel will be represented by 3 points. Okay, that is digital images. And we can also, speaking about inside of this chapter, we will be going to use the term bit planes. Okay, bit planes is nothing but we are transforming the sequence of binary images by breaking them into bit planes. So, okay, binary images means only two levels. Okay, this is two level images, and here we are slicing the bit planes. Okay, and we'll discuss in detail when we speaking when we come into the second unit. Okay, enhancement. Then we'll see about sampling and aliasing. So sampling, how we have to sampling, all that we know. So Nyquist rate of sampling is very apt for sampling. That is, sampling frequency should be greater than or equal to 2fm. So fs is the sampling frequency and fm is the maximum signal frequency, and this is the condition for sampling. Only if we follow this condition, we can get a perfect reconstruction. Otherwise, the reconstruction won't be good. So, if the original waveform does not vary much over the duration, then also we can't get a good construction. Oversampling also, it leads to so many effects. So, Fs equal to Fm. What is undersampling? If you are sampling, the sampling frequency is less than Fm, then we can say it is undersampling, and because of undersampling, we can affected by the image will be affected by aliasing effect. We will see what is this aliasing. Here this is aliasing effects, and this is because of undersampling. But if we want to recover this, we have to apply anti-aliasing. So you see here undersampling, okay, and here we are oversampling this. So we are so undersampling means here 1 point, this 1 point, here 1 point, but here we only for one cycle we are having only 2 points, but here we are having 3 points, okay, but here only 1 point. So this is undersampling. Only one sample per cycle, here 2 sample per cycle, and here we are increasing the samples 1, 2, 3. So by if you increase the number of samples in the signal, we can avoid this undersampling, okay, aliasing effect. So aliasing and Moir pattern, the same thing what I have discussed. So made up of linear combination of sinusoidal signals, okay, of different frequencies, that we'll be discussing there in chapter 4 also. For some physical reason, there is a highest frequency components, okay. If a signal is sampled at more than twice its highest frequency component, then we can reconstruct it exactly from its sample. This is the Nyquist criteria for sampling. But if it is sampled at less than that frequency, then it is undersampling. So because of undersampling, we have to affected, the image will be affected by aliasing. This causes the frequency to appear in the sampled signal that were not in the original signal. Some extra frequencies will appear in the sampled signal. And Moir patterns show the vertical low frequency pattern, and it is not, and it is a new frequency that is not in the original patterns. It is a low frequency pattern. You see here what is Moir pattern? It's a low frequency component which is not actually in the original signal, but it creates some effect. Okay, some extra frequency components will be appear because if we want to do proper sampling with the Nyquist rate. So you can see this aliasing in this letter also. So we have some edges at this, but here it is very fine here. Okay, that is here aliasing. Undersampling means you have, the image will affected by this problem. Okay, aliasing that can be overcome by oversampling. If you increase the number of samples, this can be clear. So another one operation we used to do in our mobile phones, everything, documents, PDFs, we used to zoom and shrinking. What actually zooming means? Increasing the number of pixels in an image so that the image appears larger. So we are increasing the number of pixels. Okay, if we have only 5 pixels, it will be blur only. If you increase the number of pixels, it becomes larger. So for that we are using 2 techniques. One is nearest neighbor interpolation. Another one is bilinear interpolation. What is this interpolation? That I will tell you in the next topics. Okay, interpolation is nothing but mapping the value which is not integer value. That is transformation we are going to apply. Next topic is transformation, and in the transformation we are going to do the mapping of image pixels from one domain to another domain. if during that mapping, if the value is not an integer value, then we are going to map that. So that non-integer value mapping may be called as a interpolation. And this one is bilinear interpolation, that is smoother. So, okay, higher order interpolation. Shrinking is nothing but subsampling. Each sample will again have some more number of samples. So here you see zooming and shrinking. Okay, this one is zooming. Okay, so this is nearest neighbor interpolation is nothing but pixel replication. You are adding more number of pixels, same pixels to the neighborhood. Okay, but this is bilinear interpolation, and here another means high frequency. Okay, bilinear interpolation is smoothing the object. It repeats. Nearest neighbor means it repeats the rows and columns. Image shrinking is nothing but some sampling. Thank you. I hope the lecture will be very useful for you and clearly understandable for you.